Hello, my name is Caitlin Bagger, and this is my video discussion 7.1 for social cultural diversity in counseling taught by Dr. Moon. Um, the first part of my video discussion is choosing my culture group, and I chose Indigenous Americans. Some of the issues that this group faces, a lot has to do with conservation and being able to practice traditional hunting and fishing. So the first issue that I came up that I found was the Native American Rights Fund. So NARF is they are celebrating a historic victory. Alaska Native communities um, are able to practice traditional hunting and fishing because the U.S. Supreme Court has decided not to review the court case U.S. versus Alaska and let the rulings from the lower court stand. And so this is a win for, you know, Indigenous Americans. There is something there. They did say though that this is just the first part. There are other issues when it comes to Indigenous Americans in Alaska, but this is a good first step to be able to, um, have their life uh, the way they want to live. The next one is tribal nations and indigenous communities are protesting the construction of a wastewater pipeline at the bottom of Lake Michigan. Indigenous communities are concerned because the company Enbridge would be overseeing this project, and Enbridge has a history of being responsible for oil spills. And with this wastewater pipeline, it would be inside a like a tunnel. They would build a tunnel, and then they would have the line in the tunnel. Um, and different safety investigations have been you know looked into, and there is a chance of this pipeline exploding, and people, indigenous people and communities, that surround Lake Michigan are concerned that, they might hurt the land, and, you know, for the next generation not have, places to fish and be able to pass on their traditions. And they're asking for people to sign a petition and put in their comments to the governor of Michigan. Um, so the next part is about what counseling theory would work best for my selected group. Um, So I found in an article by Timothy Thomason, and this was recommendations for counseling Native Americans, results of a survey. Um, they found that the phenomenological approach would be a good would be the most highly recommended. Um, this approach is described as existential, Rogerian, client-centered, humanistic, and experiential. and it was the most popular out of all of the counseling theories that were tested. Um, and then the next part is talking about cultural barriers when seeking services. So, indigenous people um, express emotional distress in a way that isn't diagnosed by diagnostic literature. So, it might be hard because of how how the system works is when you go and get like what is it? Like the assessment. The assessment, um, they basically want you to have a diagnosis before insurance will cover anything. So, you know, Indigenous Americans might not be receiving the most accurate care under this system that we have set up in the United States. And then the other barrier that was brought to my attention was how many Indigenous Americans they live in poverty and face economic challenges, making it harder to receive treatment. And so, um, it's not everybody has access to treatment, and it's important to remember, privilege and how we as counselors can make counseling more obtainable. um, would be something to reflect on. All right. Well, thank you so much. Have a good day. I will be putting references in the bottom. Thank you.